We got a special guest on here. You probably recognize him, David.
Yes.
We have Shannon and Will Wolven from Las Vegas. I'm going to kind of let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us about how you guys got started, your family situation, work situation, what you guys are doing now. And a lot of times we think that we need instant success. And I brought you guys on here because I think you guys are a perfect story about sticking to it, not giving up, and then explain what's going on now, what's in your pipeline right now. So I'll turn some time over to you, and then I want to open it up to everyone to ask questions for Will and Shannon.
Awesome.
We are parents of 6 kids. We have 5 boys, 1 girl, essentially 2 sets of twins. We're a blended family. We have 2 20-year-olds, an 18-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, and a 13-year-old. Up until September of last year, I was doing HVAC. I've always done construction my whole life. I started having kids really young, shortly after I turned 16. So I had to grow up pretty quick, and making sandwiches just didn't cut it. So I started doing construction to support my family. I had done heavy equipment, welding, ended up in HVAC when everything kind of dried up here in Vegas as far as big construction work goes. Shannon was our office manager. So the 2 of us have kind of always worked together in one way or another. She's always been my boss. Let's see, it was October 2020. So right in the middle of COVID. So we thought it would be a good idea to try to start a business while getting dumped on being new teachers, because here in Vegas, they closed down all the schools. We decided that we were going to teach 6 kids as well as start a business and try to be husband and wives and mom and dad. I had come across real estate probably 2010. I was like, man, this is our way out. Real estate's our way out. Didn't really know how, but I knew that real estate was our way out. Fast forward, we got in with Sean and made the decision that she was going to leave her job and go full time October 2020. We figured that it was going to be easy money, like we just do what everybody says and we would have checks rolling in.
Right?
It was going to be great. So October comes, goes, we get to the end of the year, nothing. We get into the beginning of next year, still nothing. We're calling, we're doing PPC. We end up getting in with the deal syndicate mastermind after going to Extreme Freedom. And first meeting was shortly thereafter.
It's a whirlwind.
The first 6 months was complete crickets. And then we go to the deal syndicate. We're fired up as we're leaving there. I'm ready to quit my job at that point. I'm like, I'm in a whole room of proven concepts. Like, what the hell do I need this job for?
Deal. We'd had some things happen, but we hadn't closed any deals yet.
We had gone to one of the meetings and Sean had challenged us. Well, it was more a challenge for me than it was for anybody else. We had to close our first deal. It needed to be $15,000 before July 1st of last year. Or I used to have a big beard. So Sean will describe it as like a ZZ Top beard. It wasn't that glorious, but it was more like a Duck Dynasty beard. But I had put in a couple of solid years of work into this beard. And if I didn't hit that goal, then I had to shave it. So y'all can probably see I have less of a beard now. So I did not hit that goal.
Maybe we should have tried harder than we did. I don't think we felt like we put in the time. I think a lot of people say like, I'm trying and nothing's happening. But like, are you really trying? Are you like maybe trying for like a couple hours a day, So I think that we kind of realized we weren't really putting in the time that we needed with the family, the kids in school, everything else. I had said, they're not going to actually make you shave your beard. It'll be fine. You don't have to shave it. But he shaved his beard.
It was just as much accountability for me as it was for anybody else. I was fixing to go back and see Brandon and Sean and all these people that I had raised my right hand to and swore that I was going to go home and work my butt off to try to get to this point. It was a lot of one-sided work. It was a lot of Shannon trying to be a new business owner and learn systems and be a teacher and a mom and a wife, all while really not being able to put in an actual effort,
Working a lot of hours too from your AC job, right?
Yeah, I'm working 12, 14 hours a day and then coming home and being like, so what did you get done today? When realistically, it wasn't even her idea. I was like, no, we're going along with this. It's go time, quit your job. You're going to go 100% in. She had heard me talk about podcasts and this, that, and the other, and how much these different people had made, but she didn't really have any idea what she was getting into. I just was kind of like, this is what's happening. Being the amazing woman that she is, she just went along with it. After lots and lots of tears, it came down to I needed to. That was my accountability. That was my apology to her. Like, we had spent months saying that we were grinding, and realistically, the only person that was attempting to grind was her. Because it's hard to come home at 8, 9 o'clock at night and make calls. You can't be calling sellers at 9 o'clock at night. And that's what availability I had. I went back with less of a beard. And at that next meeting, we end up getting a lead, and we get all the way through it again and kind of create our own system, because Sean and everybody's like, you can't sell the VA buyers. I don't know how y'all's little process have gone, but for us, every deal we had a VA buyer. And my family, I got a soft spot for those folks. So I'm like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And we get all the way through, we figure it out, we get the seller on board, we get the buyer on board, and the VA buyer ghosts us. She's gone. Like it was maybe 2 weeks before closing. We're trying to get all the paperwork dialed in. She's talking about how she's so excited. She took her daughter by the house, and she's gone.
This is like the fourth deal now, I think, that we had gotten really close on, and then it fell out for some reason or other. But I just kept reminding myself, like Sean would always say, you're going to have closed contracts. You're going to have canceled deals. That's going to happen. So I was like, these are just all the numbers I have to get to that final contract that does close.
And up to this point, we've had 2 that were all the way up to the week of closing.
Yeah.
One of them was 3 days before closing, and then it all just fell apart on that. So there was multiple times that, even though we shouldn't have been, we were counting the dollars before, they had hit the bank account.
And I think it's something we haven't noted before when we talked about this, but we actually had another traditional wholesale in buyer come along prior to this whole VA thing that wanted the property. And I actually told him, I think we have a buyer, but I'll let you know. And I kind of tried to keep him on the hook because I wanted to help this lady so badly. And the seller wanted to help this VA buyer so badly that I actually pushed the other end buyer off and was like, we'll get back at you if it doesn't go through. So that's where we ended up going when this all fell apart. I told the owner was a little cranky about it, but he knew that we were trying to help someone. I said, we do have another option. Let me know what you want to do if you want to move forward. And he did just want to get sold. So he had that motivation, which was good. I texted that buyer and was like, oh, so we do still have this property available.
This was 90 days into initial
I
contact.
think we extended it 3 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and added a whole bunch of extra paperwork to it and complicated the heck out of it, trying to get this VA buyer in there just to still get ghosted. Luckily, we had kept this other guy around and understanding that it might go through, it might not, but the transparency and the communication is really what helped. We set everything up, and honestly, just going with the cash buyer was the easiest.
I think he closed in like
thing.
less than 14 days.
Yeah, it was like, so it was like 90 days from start to finish with this other guy to be closed in probably 10 days.
Yeah.
And we ended up making like almost 22,000 on that one.
Was that your first one?
That was our first one.
Wow, so that was great, right?
Yeah.
That was awesome. And then Sean likes us to tell everybody that the check came. We wanted a check because we wanted to have like our check. We didn't want a wire. So the check comes in the mail and we're excited, and I can't wait to call Sean. And I think I probably sent Brandon a message, and I've got the envelope, and I'm like, make a video, whatever. And we open up and the check's in the wrong name.
Yeah. So they had sent the check in our personal name instead of our business name. So then we had to wait another couple days for the actual check to get here. But like, I mean, This business seems to be a lot about focusing on the silver lining as opposed to directly what's in front of you, because this whole thing is about solving problems, whether it's solving your problems, solving the seller's problems that become your problems. So always what's directly in front of you is a problem. If you only focus on exactly what's in front of you, it seems like it's easy to get discouraged.
How long was it till you got that first bit of money coming in?
It was 14 months from the time that we started to the time that we got our first check.
How did you find, what marketing did you do to find that deal?
So we were actually running a PPC campaign, and if you need some advice on that, talk to Will, because we messed that up big time. Spent a lot of money and realized it was a disaster. We weren't getting a lot of leads, and I had talked to a couple friends and some people in the six-figure syndicate, and they were like, try a cold caller. We had been calling ourselves, but it was just so much things to do as for one person. So we went ahead and went in with a cold calling service. And that lead came from the cold caller.
Wow. Yeah, we burned a lot of money. She says spent a lot of money, but we literally just burned money on PPC because like I said, I come from construction. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take on this tech side of stuff. Like for me, if the computer doesn't work on the first click, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I'm out. But I figured that this would be a great thing for me to take on. I haven't actually nailed down the number, but it's somewhere between $10,000 and $14,000 that we burned, you know, on trying to get that dialed in.
So from there,
Go ahead.
So from there, after that deal closed, we have closed 3 other deals, both a mix of PPC and cold caller. One came from a random little bird dog guy that's been trying to get our help. So, but he came from PPC. So actually it works out from PPC. But so we did that, and that was a cool deal because we actually didn't do anything with that deal. We wrote up a JV contract that required us to run marketing on the property and him to pay us for our marketing if he sold it without us, and he sold it without us. So we put in a little bit of time, and I think we made $3,500 on that. So that was kind of cool.
We're like, what, 4 or 5 months since I quit my job, and we've made like 51,000 to date between all 4 of those contracts. And then I think we have,
which is about $6,000 more than his last year during COVID for the year.
Nice.
And then right now in the pipeline, we have 8 contracts for a total of $373,000 in assignment fees. So
unless we do
that game changing.
Yeah, that is amazing.